Winds and Waves looks like it might be the Pokemon game we've been waiting almost 9 years for. And you might as well make it 10 because it's not releasing until 2027. Which means if you're in the market for a new Pokemon game right now, you've got 2 options here, friends. A live service game or a cozy life sim game. What is this timeline? But if you're a determined Nintendo shill like myself, you'll keep digging until you reach the underground 3rd option here. Pokémon Romhacks. Sorry, I just got this auto-tune plugin and I really wanted to use it for this. Romhacks are no longer just some niche corner on the internet. This is where some of the best new Pokemon games are being made, and they're not even official games. Which is why I want to jump back in head first and see what 2026 has in store and what has already been released for Pokemon Romhacks. What games are out right now that we can play that are kind of new, and then what's also coming later this year that's going to blow our brains yet again. This year has been pretty interesting for Pokemon Romhacks. I've noticed that as I'm reconnecting with the scene over the past few weeks, there's not a lot of major releases that broke out of the niche. Instead, we're getting a wave of smaller, weirder, more unique hacks that are adding, I'd say, depth to the scene and kind of lifting the tide altogether, if that makes sense. But that's not a bad thing because a lot of the releases I've seen in 2026 are redefining what it means to even be a Pokemon game. And nothing proves this more than one of 2026's biggest releases so far, Celia's stupid ROM hack. This is a game that I don't even know how to explain it. It's set in the context of the Fire Red game and Fire Red engine, but nothing about this is traditional in the slightest. It's advertised as a puzzle adventure game, and you know, it's definitely puzzling. This is my grandson. What was his name? Gary. They won't let me pick him. We go around. Where is Y? Did they get rid of those bastards? Okay. Dodge the freaking Rattatas again. Are you... What is this? And if I'm being completely honest with you, I'm a very casual Pokemon fan. I've never gotten into the esports side of things or the competitive side of the battling. I've just been a very much so regular, like spam, high damage attacks like a moron. That's it. That's my strategy. But if you play this game, you have no choice but to learn a little bit of the strategies. I have now become hyper aware of the fear strategy, which is, you know, the focus, sash, endeavor, and quick attack Rattata strategy, also known as freaking evil, annoying rodent. Dude, why did it do so much damage to me? Oh my... Isaac, oh wow. Did you really just die on the first round of the game? Good job. The game has a lot of deep cut references that just went right over my head, and if you're a die-hard member of this community, you're going to feel right at home, while it's also at the same time changing our perspectives on what a Pokemon game even is. Just like another new ROM hack, Pokemon RecordKeepers. Before I even get into the gameplay of this one, let's just look at it because it's so pretty. Now, what makes RecordKeepers actually special is that it is a rogue-like game. In this game, you play as the record keeper tasked with uncovering the truth behind various myths and folk tales. And then inside each myth, you then fight mini-bosses and other wild Pokemon. And every time you defeat a Pokemon, you absorb one of their abilities. So you're literally like building your kit and your team and your abilities on the fly, getting stronger as you go, which is what makes it a roguelike. The battling system was my favorite part, though, about this entire game. You get to rotate in between your Pokemon at the same exact time while you're fighting all of the mini bosses, and it's very interesting. There's no levels at all or grinding involved. It's mostly, like I said, just all about your run and how many Pokemon and abilities that you can stack up to get more powerful. For a casual player like myself, I'm not gonna lie to you, these runs have been very difficult for me. You know, I'm still maybe possibly struggling on the first boss, and you know, I might have to start implementing my fear strategy again, and I'm gonna recruit every single Rattata on the planet. But maybe you're not looking for all of this chaos and new, fresh, hot take on Pokemon. Maybe you're just a little bit traumatized from Pokemon Legends ZA still, and the fact that both the new Pokemon games are completely off the beaten path, so you're now craving something completely normal. Something that just feels like Pokemon. Something like Pokemon Amethyst. Full disclosure, I have not played this game yet. It literally released less than 24 hours ago as I am writing this script, but I felt like I had to include it because Amethyst is one of the purest examples of the sheer passion and love that these developers have for these games. This dude dropped a full game with zero marketing. There was no Reddit post, there was no AI TikTok video of SpongeBob committing crimes, no countdown, just like a quiet single post on Hackdex, and it was a random Thursday morning when he decided to drop it unannounced, which made me think that maybe it was a super bare bones copy paste of Hoenn or Kanto, but no, dude, this looks like a fully fleshed out traditional style Pokemon game. And this guy, after doing some more research, has been working on it for almost 5 years. There's like a 200-page document of this dude's entire process, working on it since 2021 and learning how to make ROM hacks because he wanted to create a love letter to the traditional and original games. And just really think about this for a second. A few years ago, a drop like this would have been massive, man. The scene would have been losing its mind for weeks, if not months, over a brand new region and all of this content. But now, since this is such a deep part of the internet where everything is maturing at an alarming rate, hacks like this showing up are kind of normal, which means the floor of quality is rising up. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't spend 5 years making a game like this unless I really, really care about it, especially if I don't feel the need to market it at all. And thankfully, within the scene, we do have a lot of updates from other games that are coming later in 2026, where they're teasing us new mechanics, new features, and of course, all of the beautiful graphics that we're gonna witness later this year. And my friends, we've got to talk about it because I think the rest of 2026 is going to be a doozy. Remember those insane graphics I was talking about earlier in RecordKeepers? Okay, imagine this same level of polish, but in a more traditional mainline style Pokemon hack. That's Pokemon Eventide. A new region, a brand new storyline. There's even a crafting system, and apparently they're trying to rework and redesign how levels work alongside side quests, and of course, this juicy, delectable art style. Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about seeing developers and people within this community make games that look so gorgeous, but it brings me peace knowing that I can sleep at night and there's somebody out there who is pushing the style of Gen 3 Pokemon or just older Pokemon in general forward. And if we're going to stay on the subject of visuals, then you already know that the pinnacle is, of course, Lazarus and Emerald Seaglass. These two games made by Nemo are so gorgeous. This is like the peak of all Pokemon designs, man. It just looks so good. And if you like these games, then you're going to be ecstatic because we have gotten word that Nemo is working on a Gen 7 demake. So I am kind of geeking out a little bit about the idea of replaying those games, but in this sweet style. And lastly, my most anticipated game of 2026, and the one I'm pretty sure is going to break out of the niche similar to how Lazarus did last year, is Pokemon Monomyth. This game has been in development for 6+ years, which is insane for a Pokemon fan game. It's got a new region, 75 hours of content, 360 plus Pokemon, a 200 plus track OST, and I think there's like a link cable usability now. I don't know how they got the link cables in here, but they thought of everything. And probably the most interesting thing about this release is that it does include Fakemon, which, if you're unaware, is literally just new Pokemon that aren't originally designed by Game Freak, and it's newly designed Pokemon for us to enjoy, which in the past I'll say has been very hit or miss. You know, a lot of times I don't personally enjoy playing Fakemon games because it does take a lot of the nostalgia out of the experience, but popular titles like Pokemon Pisces have proven that it is possible to deliver a good experience, and it is my most anticipated ROM hack of 2026 in the Gen 3 style, because ladies and gentlemen, I can feel it happening. The tides are rising, the winds are changing, and new Pokemon games are arriving. And it's going to be on the dual screen handhelds. When you combine the skyrocketing popularity of the Einthor and the RGDS with the fact that kids who grew up playing the DS are now fully grown adults that have mortgages, the demand for DS ROM hacks has just, it's got to be peaking right now. And I'm so pumped for this because you all know that Gen 4 and Gen 5 are my favorite Pokemon games of all time. The dual screen layout is the peak experience for old school Pokemon, I'm telling you. And then graphically, Gen 4, especially Gen 5, I just made a video ranting about this for so long, I'll say it again. You combine the 2D elements with the little 3D low poly graphics, and it's just so good. But what's really got me excited about all of this is that modders and coders are figuring out ways to push these visuals of the DS games even further than what was originally possible. Dude, I'm getting freaking pumped for this. I have seen posts where these dudes have figured out how to make expressive backgrounds while battling. So we're going from this Gen 4, Gen 5, very plain and minimalistic battle backdrop into huge, fully expansive 3D camera movement models and all of this goodness. It's probably just nostalgia talking to me right now, but this is that good stuff. There aren't a lot of original DS ROM hacks out right now, and the few that do exist haven't quite matched the quality of the bar that Gen 3 hacks have set, which means to me that the trophy is completely up for grabs here, folks. And if I had to put my money on one game in particular, it would be Pokémon Iridium. This is going to be another original story and region ROM hack, but just based on the list of things they're trying to implement and the fact that they are really overhauling all of the DS games from the ground up makes me feel like this is going to be it's going to be a moment for the DS system and for DS Pokemon fans. In the demo, you can already see how they're expanding things, like just the way that you access your bag and the way it looks moving in with the 3D models. Like stuff like this is opening the floodgates for what the possibilities are now in the future for NDS. I've also been enjoying some of the videos that the main creator has been making, where he's doing a bunch of tutorials and essentially explaining his process as he creates this ROM hack and adding back to the community. And it's stuff like this that makes me fall in love with this area of technology and, I don't know, video games as a whole. It all just feels so grassroots, so pure, and that's the biggest reason I'm even a fan of ROM hacks to begin with. You know, as corporations and algorithms overtake every corner of the internet, the ROM hacking scene still seems, you know, refreshingly human. It's just people making stuff because they genuinely have love for what it is that they're making, which doesn't happen as often as you think. And I think it's really important here to remember that these projects aren't meant to replace modern Pokemon games. They're meant to serve as an extension of the franchise, a celebration of it. You know, it's like a way for fans to carry older aesthetics and design philosophies forward in their own way that were already previously abandoned by Game Freak. What ROM hacks prove to me, and honestly a lot of retro gaming projects, like I just saw this what was it called, Dusklight, which is a Twilight Princess decompilation community project where they literally decompiled Twilight Princess into a PC port. So now it runs natively on Windows or whatever it is that you want to run it on. You don't even have to really emulate this game anymore. Stuff like this is what shows me that the beauty of anything usually is not found in how flashy the final product is. It's found in the intent that the product was created with. It's so inspiring to see creation without a lot of expectation, which honestly is bleeding into this channel. My hope with you and anybody who watches these videos, not to selfishly make this about me, is that I want you to feel like these videos and whatever it is I'm doing kind of mimic this style. It's like, it's literally, it's just grassroots, dude. I'm just in my room. I'm in my grandma's room. I got a freaking green screen behind me. I got clothes in that closet. I got the dogs here that I just scared them. They were sleeping. Like, I hope that these videos can feel the same type of way. And I don't know. I'm inspired by 2D Pokemon, okay? Also, on this note, my upload schedule is going to be horrible for the next, like, month or two. The past few weeks, I've literally just been, like, landscaping in the morning for, like, 3 hours, just killing bushes and trying to rip them out of the backyard of the house that I'm moving into. And, you know, my life right now just feels like a big work in progress, which I guess is also why I feel so much relatability with Pokemon ROM hacks. These games are a work in progress. The scene is a work in progress, and it's a community effort. And I love that so much. And hopefully by the end of 2026, both my life and Pokemon ROM hacks will be even better.